Hello, folks. This is
Okay.
On Fire Concerts February Artist of the Month interview, and I'm Ron Johnson, your host. Today we have on the phone with us a lady that, if you talk about country music's history, you can't talk about it without mentioning Miss Leona Williams. Thank you, Leona, for being with us.
Well, I'm proud to be with you there, Ron. Uh, I've been in the business a long time, so I know lots of stuff. As my friend Gene Shepard used to always say.
Yeah, did.
But
She was an
anyway,
amazing woman as well. You know,
yes, we love Gene.
the stories you could tell, and we'll get there in a few minutes, but I can't imagine some of the things someone been, in the business and all aspects of it, singing, writing, everything. Uh, I'm sure you've been told you ought to write a book about it. Yeah.
Yes, I have been told that many times, and I just hadn't got around to it yet. you know.
Well, for the folks that may or may not know here that I believe you were born in Missouri, and is it Vienna?
Yeah, Vienna, Missouri. I was raised there in that little area, Vienna, and I was raised there with there's 12 of us, 7 boys and 5 girls.
That's I thought, well, I hope I pronounced that name of that town right, because I'm like, sometimes I see that and I think that could be pronounced a couple of ways.
Yeah, my dad used to call it Vianney.
Well, that's me. I was supposed to say that Vienna, or that, you know, um, you at 15, I believe, when first growing up, um, who were your influences when you were just young, growing up and thinking about the music?
My influence was Kitty Wells. I loved Kitty, and of course I was a huge Hank Williams fan. And a little kid with living in the country there. Well, those kids, we had a battery radio. We could listen to Grand Ole Opry and and stuff. And I just grew up listening to the music and wanting to play. My dad played the fiddle real good, and so then some of my brothers and us, we'd play. I learned to play rhythm on the mandolin first, and then
Huh.
I played rhythm on the guitar. And so my dad, I remember some of us kids slept upstairs, and I could hear my dad playing the fiddle early in the morning before he'd go to work. And I'd get up as I got older. I'd get up and get my mandolin or guitar and go play rhythm for him. And I just loved that. I got some great memories.
Well, I mean, I read where when you were, I think, 15, you had a radio show in Jefferson City on a station, KWOS, I believe it was. Uh,
That's right. That's right.
and it was just called Leona Sings.
Yes, it was called Leona Sings, and a guy that owned the radio station, his name was Johnny Music, and he had a band called Johnny Music and the Johnny Boys. And so my brother was playing fiddle in his band and stuff. And so one night at a dance I was at there, my brother Warren asked if his sister could get up there and sing one. He said, "Well, sure." So Johnny really liked my singing, and he said, "Golly, you ought to let's get sponsored. Maybe you can have your radio show." So that was kind of a big deal back in those days, I guess, to have radio shows, for people. But I had my show for probably a year or something like that. Leona Sings, and it was every Saturday morning, and I was, we'd go tape it like on a Thursday night, someplace, and then play it back on Saturdays. It was a pretty neat thing to do back in those days.
I
And
would imagine, and not many today. I mean, 15-year-olds have their own radio show. Um,
yeah.
and that has, that was I'm sure that was you didn't find it back then that much either, if any. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't know. Well, I knew partially. In your early years, when you first started out, I guess in the music business, working with other artists, you backed Loretta Lynn, but you also played bass. Is that correct?
Well, yes. Back in the day, uh, I moved from Vienna, Missouri. And by the way, while we were talking about Vienna, just in the last 2 or 3 years, they honored me and named a highway going through Vienna, Leona Williams Highway. And I'm real thankful. The state of Missouri honored me. So I'm very proud of that.
I have got a photo of that of you by that sign that we were going to mention, and that's got to be an honor. I mean, that's just, that's an amazing honor. I would think for anybody, you know.
Yes, I'm very thankful, and I'm very, very proud of that. And it's just something I wanted to mention while we was talking about Vienna. But
right.
And
so when you left Vienna, how long was it after that you got involved with Loretta? Or?
Well, it was quite a while. I left Vienna. I got married, and I moved to St. Louis area. I moved to St. Charles, Missouri, and I went to beauty college. And when I got out of beauty college, I worked in a beauty shop just near the airport in St. Louis called St. Anne's was the name of the place, the town I was in. And I was a beautician. And so every weekend, my husband, Ron Williams, Sr., I have a son named Ron that's a wonderful singer. And his dad and I were together for 14 years. And he was a great singer and, himself. And so anyway, we had a little group, and I played upright bass in the band. And so anyways, one time Loretta Lynn, well, it was the Wilburn brothers, was going to be in Washington, Missouri. I believe it was Washington, Missouri. And anyways, we went to see the Wilburns, and they had Loretta with them. And she jig danced for them, and stuff. She was wonderful. And we just loved it. And so later, somehow or another, we all got acquainted, and we all went out to eat and stuff. And so we worked and booked Loretta with our band, backing her on some shows in Missouri. So Loretta really liked our band, and she said, if I ever make it, I'm going to help you kids. And so as the time went by, one day at the beauty shop, she called me and said, I'm going to rent you guys a house, and I want y'all to move down here. I'm starting my first band called the Blue Kentuckians, and I want y'all to work with us. So anyways, I played upright bass and sang harmony with little old Loretta there for about a year. Yes, sweet Loretta. And she had lots of hits. I was with her when at her mom's house when Peggy Sue sang her that song, Don't Come Home A-Drinking.
Oh, okay.
And so that was just great,
That's an amazing story. I mean, there again, it's a history. I love country music stories and the history, and I listen to music all the time. And your early stuff. One of my favorite songs you've got. It's hard to say my favorite Leona Williams song. You've got so many that you've written for yourself and other artists. But one of my favorites, the early ones, was Country Girl with a Hot Pants On. And I think that's just a great song. And we're going to play that right now for the folks because that was an early song, was it not?
Yeah, that was after I had a song called Once More, and I'd been on the Grand Ole Opry, guests on there, and stuff, and different things I was doing. I had a song called Once More, and I Want Some More of This. Those were they did really good. Of course, Glenn Barber wrote a song called I Want Some More of This. He wrote Yes Ma'am, He Found Me in a Honky Tonk. And later, Jim Mundy had written this, the fad was the girls wearing the hot pants, and I was kind of bashful about that. I thought, oh gosh, if I cut this song, I didn't really want to do it at first. But then it got me more attention. Each song you record and they release is, well, everything helps, it's just one step at a time. So anyways, that song did real good for me, and Country Girl Hot Pants On.
I always love that. So we're going to play that right now, and we'll be right back with Leona Williams.
above my knees. But I've seen your eyes bug out when you saw them on TV. So I've been sewing all day long while you've been gone. So tonight you'll see your country girl with hot pants on. If you want a good old-fashioned loving country girl, well, I'll be more than glad to welcome you back to my world. If it's really clothes and tinny hose that really turns you on, you'll like your country girl with hot pants on. When you come home from work tonight, you better plan to stay. 'Cause if you go to town again, I'm not gonna wait. I may not be no raving beauty, but I'm not that far gone. I still look pretty good with hot pants on. If you want a good old-fashioned loving country girl, well, I'll be more than glad to welcome you back to my world. If it's really clothes and tinted hose that really turns you on, you'll like your country girl with hot pants on. You like your country girl with hot pants on.
Country Girl in Hot Pants, Leona Williams. Leona, I know in the mid-'70s, I believe that is when you teamed up with Merle Haggard and was part of his band. You wrote a good 3 or 4 big hits of Merle's, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And I before I got with Merle, Loretta had recorded one of my songs. Tammy Wynette recorded a couple songs. Some different great singers had recorded my songs, and then Connie Smith, who is just awesome, she recorded a song I wrote called Dallas, and
I love
it's a
that
top
song.
10 record for her. And I had my record of Yes Ma'am, which Glenn had written, but it did really good for me. And Merle Haggard was a fan of mine, and through Ronnie Reno, he was in town here. I knew Ronnie. He didn't live very far from me in Hendersonville, Tennessee. So Ronnie, he told Merle he knew me and whatever. So and by that time I was over on RCA Records. So, anyways, Ronnie said Merle would like to talk to you. So he put Merle on the phone, and they wanted me to come down and meet everybody. So I said, golly, this is nice. I'll do that. So I drove downtown, and we all went over to Ireland's, this restaurant over there, and we laughed and talked and stuff. And later, Ronnie and I had a brand new car, I remember, and Ronnie and Merle rode with me over to a studio where Merle was recording his Train album. And so anyways, Merle, he was telling me he's such a big fan and everything, and so he had me to sit in the vocal booth with him. And so later, I sang harmony on one of the songs on there called Where Have All the Hobos Gone? So, that kind of got us together and everything, and we talked. And later, a few weeks later, he called and he was thinking about, would I like to join his show and work some shows with all them and open the shows and stuff. But I had a great career and working a lot of stuff myself, and I'd been out there with Roy Acuff and Ernest Tubb and different ones, a kid on the show, and I just knew everybody, been on the Opry, all that stuff. So I kind of set my career aside, and soon after working with a big name like Merle, you become a backup singer, I guess.
Well,
but I got to go out there and sing a little bit of song with him, and then on his records I sang on Big City and sang on Root to My Raisin, and different hits he had, which was great for me,
Right, but you had like you said, you the songs you have written, not just like I said, just for yourself, but everyone else, Merle included, and Loretta. Talking about Loretta. Uh, See if my memory serves me, but it's get what you got and go.
That's it. Yep, I co-wrote that with my kid's dad.
That is a catchy tune. I mean title. Yeah, I mean, when I first ever heard that, I remember that title because that's just one of them catchy lines that you remember.
Yeah, and Loretta was recording those little songs like that, just cute, and she recorded that. I was awful proud of it. And it's on her "Don't Come Home a Drinking" album.
I couldn't remember the album it was on, but I remember the title because, like I said, that's just a catchy line that you don't forget.
Yeah.
But and in the '70s, mid '70s, '75, somewhere in there, you were the first lady to ever record an album in San Quentin. First lady of San Quentin. That had to be interesting.
Yeah, that was. Merle had that idea, and I always say this all in fun. He knew the ropes because he was stationed there one time for about 3 years.
Yeah.
But anyways, he said it'd be a good idea for a girl, and he had a song. He and Bonnie, his wife before me, sweet Bonnie. She, I always loved and respect Bonnie, and her and Merle had written a song called "San Quentin, You Have Taken the One and Only Man I'll Ever Love." And so I did that live. We went to San Quentin and done this live album, and it was just great, And I did "I'm Just Here to Get My Baby Out of Jail," that song, that old song. And I did a thing I wrote called San Quentin. No, I wrote "Prisons Aren't Only for Men," and just several of those songs, that were just special. And we enjoyed it. We had Merle Haggard, All the Strangers, and it was very nice. And Tiny Moore and Eldon Shamblin, all them good players. Roy Nichols, it was great.
Right. I think the Strangers band was one of the greatest ever assembled.
I do too. They were awesome. And Eldon Shamblin was just such a great player, rhythm player and stuff. And he would just move on that guitar, like down the neck, and I told him, I said, Eldon, I know D, A, G, C, all that on the guitar. I've been playing it all my life. But I said, you're playing everything down that neck. I said, if you ever hold one of those long enough, I want to learn it from you. And he just busted laughing. He's a great player. But I enjoyed being around all them. And sometimes we'd be driving down the road, and Eldon or Tiny would sit on the bus with me and Merle, and we'd all play and sing and stuff. That was neat, too,
It had to be. And, you have, Leona, you have had, and, as we have talked about, you've had an amazing career and still going strong. Before all this pandemic slowed us all down.
I know, it's been a year.
But you're a member of the Texas CMA Texas Hall of Fame. You received a George Hayes Award in 2002. The Missouri Country Music Hall of Fame. You were Rope Entertainer of the Year in 2011, I believe it was.
Yes.
Of all your accomplishments, are there one that stands out to you the most?
Golly. I think whenever they named Leona Williams Highway in Missouri, I think that was the thing that really was outstanding to me. I was like, oh my gosh, breathtaking. I'm proud that they honored me.
Well,
and,
that would, I mean, that, like I said a while ago, that would be an amazing thing. I think that just shows that, the town, that shows the town support,
Yes, they supported me. And then when I got to Nashville, and I did Once More and that song, Roy Acuff had a hit on that. And I've got pictures where Roy's standing right beside me on the Grand Ole Opry, his hands behind him, listening to it. And he really liked it. And he said he wanted me to be on the Grand Ole Opry. He said, get on down here and be on this Grand Ole Opry, and stuff. And anyways, it's just one of those things that never happened. But he thought I was a member already,
Right.
later on. He said, he was telling something. I thought Leona was already a member. Well, anyway, things went by, and that's when I got with Merle, and he kind of took me away from all that. And so, anyways, I love the Grand Ole Opry, and I respect it, and always did. And I was on there a lot back in the day, in the early 70s.
Right. And,
So,
the Grand Ole Opry over the years has changed, but everything changes at times. But, to me,
yes.
country music, I tell people I listen to, and I'm just outspoken, I guess, but I listen to all kinds of music because, I grew up in Memphis, and of course you have the blues, you have jazz, you have everything, um, which I listen to it all. I'm a old country music lover at heart, and always will be, and don't have anything, for this what they call new country. I say I'm not knocking it, but call it what it is. It's not country in some cases. Um,
Yeah.
but just call it what it is. And I see. I told someone the other night though, I am beginning to see at the shows we do, and then just online watching things. I think there's the younger people, the younger generation are actually starting to listen to the traditional country music again.
I think
Because
so too. I see that all the time.
somebody had told me they listened to a song the other day by a guy named George Jones they never heard of.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, well, you need to go out there and listen to a bunch more by George Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
Well, that's
loved
good.
it.
And they're searching.
Yeah, they loved it, and but it's funny when they say that because you think, where you been,
Yeah.
and your song with George Jones, Best Friends, or I'm sure I didn't
Yes.
pronounce the full title, but that's a great song on that duet album.
Thank you very much. Um, I know George did an album with 10 different lady singers, and I'm proud I got to be one of those girls because they ain't nobody loved George any better than me. He was my favorite singer all through the years, and Merle knew that too. When I was with him, he knew George was my favorite. The funniest thing happened. I have to tell this. When I've done I don't know how many interviews lately, and I tell this because it's so sweet. But I lived in Hendersonville. Merle was with me, out here, and so George and his manager was at I think it was Atlanta Airport they was at, and George said, "Could you come to the airport and pick us up?" And so I said, "Well, Merle's here. We'll just do that." Merle wouldn't drive in Nashville because of traffic, so we went out and picked up George Jones and Billy Wilhite, his manager, and brought them to my house in Hendersonville. And of course, Ronnie Reno was lived close to me. And Ronnie came over, and anyways, on the way while we're driving back to Hendersonville, George and Billy in the back seat, Merle in front, I'm driving. And Merle, he always liked to tease me, and he said, "Now, Leona, you got me and George Jones both in here. Now tell us who's your favorite singer." And I said, I started laughing. I said, "Well, George Jones has always been my favorite singer, and you know what? He still is." And Merle just laughed so hard, and stuff. It was cute. It was a cute way to, to compliment George and so we could all get a good laugh. And, as I think about it, I should have said, "Who's your favorite singer?" Conway. Conway. Too.
Yeah, Conway. Yeah.
Because I love
It's
Conway,
just,
too. Charlie Pride and some of these wonderful singers.
right. There's and you have worked with a lot of the greats over the years, and it's I've been blessed to work with a lot of folks in this business, and it's just to do what we can to keep the traditional country music alive.
Yes.
I know that like we said a while ago, before the pandemic set in and shut everything down. I know you were still busy all the time, along with your son Ron Williams, who is, like you said, Ron is an amazing singer, and
Yes, he is.
our mutual friend that's now passed away, Jerry Overcast, told me one time. He said, "When Leona and Ron Williams come, people gonna stand and give ovations for Leona, and the women gonna go wild over Ron." You know, and
Yeah.
yeah, but Ron's a great singer, and I mean, um, I just will be glad, and I know you will be, and all the artists will be. Well, we can get back out there and get back to doing what we love to do.
Well, that's right. A person works real hard all their life, and that's what we do. That's what we know, and we have everything going real good for us. And all at once, this comes along. It's like a shock to everybody. I had so many shows to cancel, like everybody else. It was amazing, and I just can't wait for it to pick back up. I'd like to see the door open for some of these young, plain, real country singers like Ron.
Right,
And
most definitely.
and yes, and Damon Gray's another wonderful singer that there's real good singers out there. You just need but there's nowhere to put them right now, and none of us can do except do our music at home, I guess. But it's hard to get into that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing like a live, that you draw from the crowd, I think, and
Yeah.
And it's just people are, people that I've spoken with. I know people are ready to get back out, and we've pushed what shows we had that we had to reschedule. We've pushed them back, our earliest being April, and we're just hoping that can go. I believe after April, there won't be any question. I hope that everything can go forward. In April, I think we can. I said, but the bad thing about it is the numbers are starting to maybe come down a little bit. It looks like, and maybe with the vaccine and all this stuff, that it will continue to do so and get under control. But
I hope so.
Music is a medicine of its own, and
yes, it is.
And you gotta, we've got to get back out there because there's a lot of small venues that I'm familiar with that are basically going under because the doors have been closed 6-8 months.
Yes.
And no, go
you've
ahead.
Worked so hard. You've worked so hard, Ron, to promote and put shows on, and I know we enjoyed working for you down there. And it's hard on everybody. It affects so many people. The bus companies. I have a friend who owns a bus company in Hendersonville or Gallatin, and he's a good singer, but he's mainly got this company, and he's just everything slows down, so you got to figure out a way to do something else.
Right, and I think some people are streaming, but I don't know that streaming can pay the bills from just streaming from your living room.
I don't think it can.
But I think it's maybe, like I said, maybe we're starting to see a change. I sure hope so. And we definitely want to work with you and Ron, in the future. When we can get back out there, we're ready to go. And, it's just, we're just hoping that, that's sooner than later, and I know everyone is. But Leona, we are so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, somebody called me yesterday and booked me a show in Illinois for April. So I think that's April is the time that it'll start maybe opening up, like you said.
We have the Bellamy Brothers in April, and I'm looking forward to that one. And after that, I'm confident. As long as with this virus, nobody knows one day to the next. But
that's right.
I am. I told someone. Well, I was talking to an artist the other day, and the hard part about all this, and I'm sure you probably have experienced it as well. Uh, to a small promoter like myself, you know, it's there's no uniform guideline. In other words, what I can do in this county, I might not be able to do in the county next to me.
Yes.
And there's no. It's per county, per city, wherever you're at. It depends what you can do.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
Well,
it's just hard. But I think we're going to get there. And I'm thinking end of March, start of April. I think we'll be good. And we sure
yeah.
pray and we sure hope so.
I sure hope so too. So many people that COVID is so, can be so dangerous for so certain people, and at Christmas time, Ron and I both got sick with it and tested positive. So, we got it behind us and we're doing fine, but sure was scary to think, wow, I tested positive,
I've lost a couple of friends to it. I mean, one gentleman that passed away that was one of the first people I ever worked with in the business, and but just an amazing man to me, an elderly person. But and then of course where you and Ron, where we were with y'all in Bell Buckle, everyone in Bell Buckle had it, and Greg, the owner over there, was in the hospital for like 8 days, and
oh my gosh.
but they're all, doing well now, I think, as far as I know. But it's starting to, I was watching the other night where it was releasing, starting to ease up on some restrictions. And, we just hope it keeps doing that. And by the end of next month, maybe we'll be somewhat under control, so.
Yes.
But Leona,
I sure hope so. Yes.
We thank you so much for being with us today, and we are looking forward to working with you and Ron again soon. And we know we'll get through all this, and but we just hope you the best, and Ron and everyone. And
thank you.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure to speak with you. Anytime you have a chance to see Leona Williams, you need to go see her because. If you love country music, you'll love Leona Williams. Leona, is your website music.leonawilliams.com for your merchandise and music?
Yes, for my merch, Yes,
Okay,
and all my information and all that. And Ron, thank you for all you do. And I want to tell the fans out there to just hang on, and we'll be out there doing our music, and we will appreciate your support.
Well, thank you, Miss Leona.
Thank you.
And y'all, you have a great day. And folks, check our website out for all our concerts at onfireconcerts.com. And you can also call 615-427-1925. We thank Miss Leona Williams again for being with us today, and we'll see y'all next time.